Welcome to a game between mOSEN here in red with an engineer commander and a jump bot factory. And he's going against Buckymancer, going also with an engineer commander and a hovercraft platform. And we can see here that Buckymancer, who requested this play, is going for a decent economic start. And this map is kind of special because it has high value mexes, 2.8. That's almost, typically mexes are only worth 2 income, so it's almost 50% more metal per mex. So you really want to stay on top of the economy game and build a lot of solars. You don't want to idle your command like this. You want to keep building solars and expanding your economy as fast as possible. And we can see here that, yeah, mOSEN is even more greedy, making 2 constables before going for any pyros, while you're going for 5 daggers. And dagger raiding can be pretty annoying on this map. It's kind of, you want to expand fast, so getting a few early daggers and annoying the enemy construction units is pretty annoying. Meanwhile, you're walking your comm towards the middle. I watched this replay quickly before I started recording this. So yeah, going to the middle with the commander is pretty strong. You get a strong position, you can build defenses. It's pretty good to walk the commander here. Generally want to build a few more solars, but right now you're balancing your economy alright. And you're getting some raiding in. But yeah, that's slow on the constable, is kind of annoying. And now you're not paying attention, so you run into the commander. But yeah, if you keep your attention on the dagger, it's quite easy to keep them alive. They have a long range, they have high speed. So dagger micro is kind of high, have a high skill ceiling, because you always have the speed advantage against almost all enemy raiders and units. So it's up to you to choose the engagement you want. Meanwhile, you're expanding your economy decent well. Yeah, your energy is decently balanced with your metal income. And you come in here and you're gonna target the enemy conjurer. Could be nice to get. So you get an enemy conjurer and maybe a mex as well, which is nice. If you were paying more attention, you would have been able to run more with your daggers here, kill the mex, and then continue without taking any burn damage. Now you reacted a bit late and you lose them all. So when you engage pyros with daggers, you gotta be really premeditated with how you attack. Oh, you get a conjurer there, that's nice. So you stock the expansion here with just a single dagger, you stock the expansion here, so that's really nice. So that's the thing, daggers, they're cheap, they can go everywhere, they go everywhere fast. So yeah, you just gotta be like careful how you engage the pyros. Like if you get 4 is a magic number, you want like 4 to engage a pyro. Then you can, since they have 690 HP, you just need 2 bursts to kill a pyro with 4 daggers. So that's a magic number you want to engage lone pyros with, and you want to try to like engage them at all the same time and spread out a little bit so you don't take too much damage, so they don't all get hit at once by the fire beam. So yeah, but you also, if the enemy is paying attention, they can jump away on the cliffs like this. But yeah, pyros also die pretty easily to the commander, so the cliffs can be abused by the pyro player. And meanwhile, you go for an early mace. Mace is a bit slow on this map. I'd rather make some lotus turrets here and defend with like daggers or bolas. Bolas is also pretty decent against pyros. And meanwhile, you don't have any radar in this position and nowhere any daggers, so like daggers are cheap. You can place a dagger here and try to keep this expansion, like keep this under control. Now you're not watching, but enemies also set their units to auto rotate on 99% health, so it's gonna jump into the lotus turret here without killing your, or maybe it kills your quill here. Yeah, it just about burns to death, but yeah. You kill like 3 pyros, lost a few mexes, 1 con, not a big deal. But now you are starting to excess a little bit. Like on this map, since there's so high eco, you probably want at 1 construction unit building energy solars all the time. Building wind is too early, is a bit risky because they're so fragile, and early game you're quite likely to get raided by lone raiders coming around. But yeah, if you catch enemy pyro off guard, you can easily get them with a mace like this. Meanwhile, you haven't noticed that there is a free mechs here to kill. Your dagger has been uglier since it's killed that constable, and it has regenerated after 100 seconds, I think. They will start to regenerate health, or was it 60 seconds? I think it was 60 seconds. Yeah, 60 seconds. They will start regenerating slowly. All units do that, pretty much. So here we come with a mace. A mace is quite good for pushing against pyros, but it's gonna struggle against moderators. And that is also a theme of this game, is that you struggle to deal with moderators. Yeah. But yeah, if you had to have daggers, a few daggers instead of so many maces, you could also have been raiding this area and prevented enemy from expanding theirs. So by making mace and pushing the middle, you're kind of losing. You're not like being able to defend these areas, and you're not expanding here. You should probably have a conjure, a quill here in Q, because this map is high eco, so you always want to have some extra build power to build mexes, build energy. So you probably want a quill in the build queue here. Maybe if you had a few more units, it would be nice. But yeah, right now you just have how many quills? Just 2 quills. That's not enough. Like this area is up for expansion. You want to take all this area. And sending 1 quill there is nice. Getting a radar up, like on this hill or here or something, so you can just see that you're not being contested, would be nice. So that's something you really need. And meanwhile, yeah, Lotus turrets are pretty good against pyros. They're decent against moderators, so yeah, you want to build a lot of those. However, now that you build so many maces and enemies starting to switch to moderators, you're gonna suffer a lot. Like, maces really struggle against moderators because they're so much outranged by them. So you should pretty much expect to be fighting moderators when you're fighting jump buffs. So you don't want to overbuild mace. Having a few mace, even if is good, and then like Bolas is decent for raiding, but Bolas is not as good because they're if you want to kill moderators, you probably want daggers instead. Yeah. But a unit you can go for instead if you're gonna fight moderators is Scalpel. It has slightly more range than the moderator. It one-shots them, like it does 620 damage, and it has longer range, 440 versus 420. So yeah, the moderator might get one shot off, but it's not gonna kill the hovercraft, so you're guaranteed to make cost if you just get one hit off. Like the Scalpel is slightly cheaper than the moderator. So if you're facing moderators and if you're facing jump bots, you're likely to face them. Then you should build Scalpel instead of mace. Against small numbers of pyro can be annoying if they jump into your units. So having a maester to clear up lone pyros can be pretty nice. But yeah, raiding with daggers is always nice, and if you avoid pyros or send them in groups of 4 and kill the pyro, you can do pretty well against pyros. But you missed the expansion here. I guess you're not really paying attention. You could really kill this pyro now with 4. With 4, that would be easy. And you press attack, and yeah, you kill the pyro. You drive to the fire, so you lose maybe 2 daggers here. Yeah. But yeah, you kill a pyro, you kill a con, you kill another con. It's a good trade. That's how you should be playing much more. Like if you make a few more daggers, or mostly, then you can also be raiding this position. If you have the attention span to do it, you should do it. Also, in a situation like this, do you have radar here? No, you don't have any radar here. So just plopping down a few Lotus turrets here is nice against pyros. Potentially, a player could even it's hard to protect against pyros since they have bot mobility. So while you can't path on these hills, they're impassable for your hovers. The enemy can path on the hills with the bots, so the pyros can come from any direction. So making a few Lotus turrets here and there to prevent raiding is pretty good. And yeah, moderators also struggle a bit. And here you can see you have absolutely the wrong composition to be facing. Your army value is a little less, or about even. also a little less than these moderators, and then you're gonna absolutely wreck your maces and your bolas. Bolas is not a good unit to face against moderator. If you see a big group coming in with no pyros, you should really switch to some daggers. One thing that you can do is you can hold Alt and then you can queue up daggers, and a lot of daggers. And that way they get put forward into the queue without losing your whole queue, and you can still have the fact and repeat. Halberds is a decent choice, but if the enemy has avoid armored targets, they might not even shoot at the halberds until it opens itself. And here you're lucky that the enemy has their units on auto retreat at 99%, because now they're just walking straight without skirmishing, so they just walk in to your maces and die. So that was lucky. Meanwhile, this moderator that hasn't been damaged and isn't on auto retreat is just keeping kiting this mace, and it can keep kiting it forever, because yeah, it's almost the same speed. It slows down the maces as it gets close. Yeah. Moderators, you're using the wrong units against moderators, simply put. Maybe you can corner it here and get it. Maybe. It's trying to get up the hill and it gets stuck, and it takes some damage and goes for auto retreat and dies. Meanwhile, you're kinda risking your enemy commander in this position. Placeholders are kinda nasty. If the enemy is targeting get you with one placeholder, they can keep you here and you can't escape. Unless you have a recon commander that can jump away, you can't really escape. You need something to go forward and distract or kill this placeholder. So now your commander is stuck, floating in the air, and yeah. Meanwhile, the moderator is pelting away at it from a distance. Meanwhile, you can see here that you've been balancing your economy pretty well. You only accessed now you accessed because you lost commander. You only accessed like 300 metal before that. It's good on this map. You shouldn't be too worried about access on this map. You just want to be as greedy as possible and build as many mexes as possible and build a lot of energy. So yeah, you shouldn't worry too much about accessing on this map. Meanwhile, yeah, your army, your attrition is horrible. You're just going forward and dying because moderators are countering your whole unit composition. Like maces and halberd is not going to do anything. Halberds are not going to do much. Yeah, if the enemy just makes sure to keep their pyros out of range of the maces, they're basically not going to lose a single unit. So yeah, you really have the wrong unit composition there. You should be building more scalpels if you're not pushing into this. But you're getting some raiding in, and that's nice. But yeah, this area is completely open, and you have no radar, and you have no defenses, so having some defenses here is nice. Like, having a few Lotus turrets here is nice. Building 5, that's alright, it's a choke point, but maybe 3 would be enough, because the enemy can still go around here if they want to on the hill here. But yeah, building some Lotus here in the choke points is nice to have, to keep your mexes safe. Meanwhile, you have an idle quill here that you need to rebuild with. Always, that's a thing you should always practice. Always take a look at your back mixes and rebuild as much as you can. And how many cons? Now you have 5 cons. That's not much on this map. Yeah. It's, yeah, you can have a lot more. But yeah. It's a matter if you keep them alive and if you start reclaiming on the front, you're more likely to lose more. If the enemy is raiding hard, but the enemy hasn't been raiding a lot, so you only lost a few quills to the enemy. But yeah, it depends on the situation. But you want to have some more quills, some more construction units on this map, because you want to rebuild these mexes when you lose them as fast as possible. Meanwhile, the enemy is taking a 4 position with a shield. Shields feels unnecessary, especially since, yeah, I'm not sure what they're gonna protect against. They outrange you with their moderators, so yeah, they're gonna do pretty well. Now you're making some lands, and lands can be decent if you just keep them alive. I mean, shield bot units, the general have pretty expensive units, 200 units per pop, 250 and stuff like that. So yeah, making lands is pretty good against jump bots. You can also outrange the Firewalker if you face it, if you get line of sight to it and kill it, so that's pretty nice. Yeah. So lance, there's nothing wrong with bringing a few lances against jump pods. You just gotta make sure to keep them alive. And you don't really have any units to keep in front of them. Like for example, if you were spamming scalpels, you would be outranging and pushing back the moderators, and then you can have the lances as well, to kill like the stingers and whatever else there is, or kill a random pyro, or kill a random moderator. So yeah, it's nothing wrong with that. The enemy isn't doing much with their air switch, and you're making some AA to mitigate their air units, so yeah. Meanwhile, the enemy is like sneaking through with a few units, and this is gonna cost you in the long run, because now you can see that enemy economy is starting to really take off. Like 78 versus 40, you're gonna lose this game quite a lot after doing this. You only accessed 1000 metal, and some of it was due to losing the commanders, so that's not too bad on this map. But now the problem is gonna come from the metal income difference when the enemies start raiding you. Oh, you almost get the firewalker there. So yeah, now the metal income is really gonna spike for the enemy as you're not rebuilding your mexes and securing them with a few Lotus turrets, and you don't have any radars. So yeah, that's really gonna be the big thing. Another thing that makes you lose this game is not taking control of your area again. So yeah, you're really falling behind in total value here. That's the commander loss, and yeah, now you're really falling behind. You're really falling behind after the command loss and losing those units. So yeah, the enemy's value killers is spiking off from here because you're not able to deal with the moderators in a correct way. Just making scalpels would have been nice. Like yeah, Mace might be a little bit better against Pyro, but Scalpel is decent against Pyro, and it's much better against moderators. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, at this point, the enemy, as long as enemies use their metal, they're gonna get ahead a lot, far ahead, by just using their metal, because now they have about double your income. You're raiding a little bit, but they've secured the mexes, and they have some solars next to mexes, so they get overdriven every now and then for some extra income. It's like 20% more income. Yeah, like 20-30% extra income from those mexes. That's a lot of income. So yeah, building a few solars next to the metal extraction is nice, like you do here, and the enemy has done it on like all their mexes. And then having a few, like a fusion or something in your base, or connecting with wind generators is fine. So yeah, that's a pretty good late game economy that you can have. Just add a few more fusion reactors, not too close to each other, so this chain explode. If you take a look at the explosion area, yeah, they have a decent explosion area, so you don't want to build them too close to your caretakers, or they're gonna destroy the caretakers and each other if you build them too close together. So a fusion reactor is pretty good on this map to have, or you could spam wind generators once you secure the front. But yeah, you never secure the front so far on this map, which is like, oh, and here you're losing the lances because yeah, they're out of position, and the enemy comes in with air. Yeah, that's not too good. You want to keep them alive at all times. So yeah. Yeah, you ran ahead with your army and it died, so yeah. Meanwhile, yeah, reclaim isn't as important on this map because you have so high value mexes, and then you get high value overdrive. But yeah, there's still 12,000 metal on this map right now. So yeah, this is a decent unit composition. I would have preferred if some of those maces were scalpels instead, I guess then, because yeah. Because right now only lands have the ability to kill. I guess you can run over the moderators with your daggers and maces. So yeah, but against most factories this is a good unit composition. If they don't have air, you don't need the AA, but yeah, the enemy has air, so yeah. But yeah, you're pushing forward here, but you're not retaking these mexes, and you're not cleaning out these units. these units could have been cleaned out with like sweeping through with like 10 daggers, kill them all pretty easily. Quick to build, fast respawn with. Daggers are good for that. If there are a few pyros there, you want to kill the pyros first and then kill the moderators and make sure you have enough daggers to overrun the pyros efficiently and then kill the moderators. So it's like, it's about the experience. Getting the experience to know how many daggers you need to counter moderators and pyros in a defensive situation is a skill. It's like, it takes practice and know-how to get the feeling for how many daggers you need. Do you want to mix in bolas? You can mix in bolas against pyros, but yeah, against moderators, bolas are pretty bad. So yeah, like optimally, if you have the micro, you want to like dodge the, you want to like, as you're closing into the moderators, you run forward with a dagger and it takes a shot from the moderator, and then the bolas continues, and then you try to send after the bolas after the pyros, so you slow the pyros and kill the pyros with the bolas, and the daggers can help kill everything else after that. But that's a bit of a micro-intensive maneuver that you can do, but otherwise you can just go for pure dagger and make sure you have enough to overrun the pyros, kill the pyros first, then the moderators, and avoid getting stuck, getting catched by the placeholder. You need to spread out against a placeholder, so yeah, you would need to spread out in a wide line like this and go in and kill the placeholder that way. But yeah. Oh, the enemy is really spamming singularities. They really want to overdrive and defenses. Yeah, they could have given you that. That's why you were able to push the enemy back, because their army value you were killing, trading off their army, and you were pushing ahead. So you could have had a comeback potentially from the enemy building 2 singularity reactors, and now they're building a Lucifer just to be safe. Yeah, it could have been a potential for a comeback if you had control your army a bit better and had more scalpels in there to counter the moderators. But yeah, at this point the game is basically a foregone conclusion, as the enemy is so far ahead in economy. Metal income very far ahead, metal used decently ahead, total value, yeah, far ahead, army value, yeah, more than double the army value. So I'm gonna speed this replay up a bit. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we can take a look at the unit roster, like what's good against the jump pods. Daggers are good, you just gotta be careful how you engage pyros. And then if the enemy builds too many moderators, you can overrun the moderators with daggers and you just kill the pyros first. Maybe you wanna mix in bolas against pyros, but they're a bit slower and they're worse against moderators, so it's a choice you can make. Scalpel is pretty good. It's decent. It's decent against against pyros, and you really need it against moderators. Only you have that's good against moderators. Flail is decent with AA. Mace, yeah. If you want to push, if you want to like have a strong unit to push with, having a few maces is nice, but don't overbuild them, or you will get countered by moderators. Halberd it's not gonna do much. Like, it's not good against pyros. If you go up against moderators, they're probably not gonna fire at it until it opens. Yeah, if you want to overrun pyros and moderates, you probably want to use daggers instead of halberd. Claymore, it's an AOA unit. You probably want to use it against pyros. They spread out too much. They don't take enough damage, so not very good in this map. Lance, yeah, you can use it. A few Lance and keeping them alive all the game is pretty good. Yeah. But you may want to make sure you keep them alive and never lose them, because they are high value and yeah, stuff like that. Yeah. So yeah, GG. So yeah, to repeat again, like daggers are fast. They can be good against jump bots. You want to shoot, you can always choose the engagement. So it's about the skill cap, like how much can you micro and keep track of your daggers, how many good engagement can you choose, when do you engage the pyros, when do you try to overrun the moderators and pyros. It's like, it takes a bit of practice to learn that, and it also takes practice to be able to micromanage so that you can control like two groups of moderators of daggers at the same time, so you can be raiding these positions more. And you can also think, if you just send out one single dagger, if you can keep one pyro chasing you, that's really good. If you just can keep that pyro chasing your dagger, that means you're spending 220 metal on a unit that's chasing 80 metal units. So that's really good. If you just have the enemy pyro chasing your daggers and you keep your dagger alive, that's a good trade. If you keep the enemy pyro in their base, yeah, that's really good. Because yeah, they're gonna struggle. They can use puppy and constable maybe, but they're gonna struggle catching your daggers. And if you have 2, 3, 4 daggers running around in the base, keep occupying the pyros and preventing all the constables from expanding, that's really good on this map. And you want to try to be a bit more greedy on this map, try to build a few more solar collectors, try to get these mixes earlier. If you feel you're lacking the attention to take both these sides, it can be hard at the beginning. Like, if the enemy is pushing you with pyros on this side, maybe it's hard to get him with daggers because they can also go up into the hills. So potentially you could just take this side. It's easier. This side is best to take. You expand here with one conjurer, and you secure this with one lotus turret maybe, and you can send your daggers forward. And yeah, having a lotus turret against pyros is really good, because one pyro can just barely beat the lotus turret. If it is a little bit damaged, or if it goes in at the wrong angle, it's gonna lose against lotus turrets. So, and the enemy doesn't have anything fast, like mothers. They are decent against lotus turret, they can two-shot them, but they're slow. If you're getting raided here by moderators, yeah, something else is going wrong. And you can kill moderators easily with daggers. If the enemy sends a force down here with pyros and moderators, you should be able to choose the engagement with how many daggers and units you send in, and scalpels and everything. So that's the thing. If the enemy try to go with a big unit, big army at the side, you have the speed advantage with the daggers that can kill them. So really, you want to be able to push up here and hold the middle. These choke points, the enemy can go around them, but having a few choke points here and a radar, so you can see if the enemy has any units coming here, is good. Yeah, and you really gotta think about how you fight moderators. They can be annoying for some factors to deal with, like tank struggles against moderators, and but yeah, with scalpels you shouldn't really struggle so much against them. And with a combination like scalpels and daggers, maybe some bolas, maybe a mace to prevent pyros from overrunning your scalpels, you will do fine. And remember to rebuild these mexes. You gotta be greedy on this map. It has a lot of income. But yeah, you can see that you were, for most of the game, you were a little bit ahead in metal used. So yeah, you did decently with the economy. But those are my tips to you. Good luck and have fun.